Okay, welcome back. So now I'm going to break down again the kind of syntax, the general way of how do you declare and call these static methods and what do these words mean again. So when you want to create your own method, you have to declare it. And so this word declaring we're going to use for specifying what are the statements that are going to be inside the method. So when you declare, you have to name it, so that's one piece, and then you also have to say what are you going to run? What's the code that you want to execute whenever you use this method? And there's two kind of main chunks to what a method looks like. You've got a method header, which contains the name, and you've got the method body, which contains the statements. So name is with our header. Let's get red. We have name, which is with the method header, and then let's get blue, and then we have statements, which is with the method body. Okay. So for our example of draw box, let's see if you can identify the method header. So the method header is this whole set of code. This line, public static void, draw box with parentheses. And this bit right here, this is our name of the method. And you have control over what to call things. Unless I'm saying, hey, write a method named blah, right? So then I'm saying, okay, the method has to be called this. So, but when you're programming for yourself or writing your own chunks, then you can name them whatever you want. And then we have the method body. Well, that's everything inside the curly braces. So from this first curly brace to the last curly brace, that's the method body, right? So that's everything inside the method. So those are all the statements. The method header has several keywords at the beginning, and then you have the name, and then you have a pair of parentheses. That's always going to be the case. You're going to have some keywords. You'll usually see the keywords like public, static, void, but those are liable to change. For now, all of our methods are going to be public, static, void, and then the parentheses are going to have nothing inside of them. And then the name is important. It should reference whatever that method does. It would be not very useful to name something that draws a box and call it, draw a triangle. That's confusing for a programmer because, or someone reading our code, because the method doesn't do what it says it does, right? So our method is called drawBox because we draw a box. We'll talk about those keywords that when you write these methods in IntelliJ, public, static, and void. We'll talk about these keywords a little bit more in a future date. You'll kind of see them appear and disappear throughout the course. Public and static will take a little while before we get to, but void we'll address when we get to, I believe, Unit 2. So that's not too far away, because that one is liable to change. They're all liable to change. So. Okay, so, but for now, don't look behind the mirror. It's just, just write those words. Okay, so a method body is enclosed in curly braces, and it's going to contain all the statements we want to run whenever we call the method. And calling is is another word for basically using, right? It's when we want to run all the code that we've written in the method body. So there's our method body, starting with the first curly brace, ending with the last curly brace, and all those printlns inside of it. So in the case, so when we're trying to print a box to the console whenever this method is called, so we would put the code to print the box inside the method body. Okay, so how do you call how do you actually print the box? Well, declaring is not enough. If you just declare it, then it's never going to actually get run. You have to call it from main or from somewhere so that the program knows when you want to actually draw the box. You can think of it like this. You write your declaration. You're just setting aside for some later date the capability of drawing a box. You're like, okay, I know I'm going to need to draw this box at some point. I'm going to say, this is how to do it. And we'll just put a shit to the side for now. Say, okay, so we can draw a box. So to draw the box, you have to call it. To actually draw it, you're just saying, here are the instructions. This is the blueprint. Put it to the side. Okay, now I want you to draw it. And then that's the call. That's the method call. So method calls are a little tricky at first. It's a statement. Itself is a statement. And what happens is that when the program gets to that line where you see a call, it's going to pause whatever it's doing, basically, go to that method declaration, run all the code line by line in that method, in the method body, and then go back to wherever that call was and then resume on the next line below it. So it kind of like says, all right, okay, we'll stop for a second. We'll go run over to our method. We're going to go run all the code inside that method. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, we're done with that method. Now go back and continue on. Okay, so the program, in effect, pauses and then runs the code and then comes back. So, and then how you call it, you just write the name of whatever the method is, followed by parentheses and a semicolon. And that should remind you, remember, semicolons are our kind of end of a statement, that this is in fact a statement. A method call is a statement. All right, so here's a little test yourself. Write a static method called drawTriangle that prints that shape to the console. So there's a couple of forward slashes and backslashes and some dashes. So this should be on 3 lines, and just so things are a little bit easier, I'll just tell you how many spaces we have. We've got a space here, no space, no space, and a space at the end. Well, you don't really have to print that space. We've got 2 spaces in the middle right here, and then we have 4 dashes at the bottom. So it's 4 characters wide, 4 characters wide, 4 characters wide. Each of these is 4 characters. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video now. You can write this in the same class of 2 boxes that you're working in. Just add underneath the drawBox method something called drawTriangle that prints this to the console. Okay, go ahead and pause the video, attempt this, and then resume when you think you have a solution. Okay, so there's the answer. Public static void, remember those 3 keywords that are just, ooh, magic. And then drawTriangle, which I said, remember that's a choice, and I said, let's make it have something to do with what you want to do. So I said, let's call it drawTriangle, open parentheses, because we need parentheses for every method, method declaration. And then we have the open curly brace and the close curly brace here, and then 3 print statements, printlns. And we have a space, forward slash, backslash, backslash, because remember, a backslash is special, so we need another backslash in front of it. So we got backslash, backslash, 2 backslashes. And then we have a forward slash, space, space, backslash, backslash, and then the 4 dashes below that. Okay, so there's our method. Okay, here's another quizzer, another test yourself. Okay, what code would you write in the main method? So now this is, what would you put inside main so that the following output is produced when the main method is run? So remember, it's not enough to just declare the drawTriangle, you actually have to call it as well. So what would you write in main so that you get 3 triangles stacked on top of one another, just like this. Okay? Go ahead and pause the video and try calling the method in main and seeing if you can get it to print this to the console. Okay, so here's the solution. Simple. We wanted 3 triangles, so we just call draw triangle 3 times. Each of these draw triangle methods is going to produce one of those triangles, and then go on to the next line. We print another triangle, so we just do this 3 times. Pretty simple.